So everybody, Baron and Mark again with Arts and Arms here, and we're doing the hot wash, the wrap up to shooting base class NRL22 here.
This was fun to watch.
It was fun to shoot.
I bet it was. Cool. So, look, we went out, we did a full day. You shot the match. I filmed the whole thing and kind of, wandered around, checked everybody's gear out and everything. One thing I saw, I think this package was a pretty damn good choice.
Yep. I would say that it was echoed by how many other RPRs, the very, very, very similar setup.
Yeah, I've got a shot that will fly in right here. I think it was a third of the guns in the shelf, which was almost all of the non-open, the base, the 1,000 or less guns, right?
I think there was only one guy shooting a Savage
something
in base.
Something like that, yeah. So it was obviously, this is a well-respected platform inside of that. And we also saw a lot of these Diamondback tactical scopes, even on some pretty high-end rifles.
Yeah, yep.
So go ahead, let's walk through a little bit. So what did, we figured out the match basically, right? And then you went out. How many rounds did you expend, getting this gun ready?
Getting it set up, and I did a bunch of shooting to figure out my holds and stuff too. Yeah. So I went through, and we'll have to do the actual math, but somewhere in the neighborhood of like 300 rounds.
Okay, cool.
So
300 rounds getting ready for the match.
$20 worth of 22.
Yeah, and then you shot another 50 or so during the match, right?
It was 80.
Okay,
80
so
round match.
This round's got, and I'm saying that because this gun's now for sale.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've got, for those of you who don't want to listen to the rest of the hot wash, this is normally a little over $1,000 package with all the stuff we've got on it, which includes, the rail section, the bipod, the front sling swivel, the Vortex Pro Series cantilever mount, Diamondback Tactical 6-24.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the rifle, of course. And so this is going to be up on the website from here for $7.95. So it's a one-shot deal, get it, and it's gone. And that literally, we're losing like $5 on this.
Yep.
Not to mention all the time we invested in you. So this is a good deal. So if you're looking at getting into this sport or just want a really accurate, reasonably priced rifle, this would be an awesome one to pick up with your Christmas months.
Absolutely.
Cool. But for everybody else, let's talk a little bit about the rifle and the performance of the gun and what you learned. We'll start with the gun.
Yeah.
With that.
The gun, I honestly, personally wouldn't change a thing on it.
Cool.
I liked the trigger on it. I take that back. The one thing I would maybe change is the safety, but that's just because I roll my thumb over to the other side when I'm shooting more precisely.
So you shoot with the gun with your complete hand on this side.
Correct.
Of the firearm.
Yeah. So I'm not wrapping my hand around the pistol grip like it's a pistol. I roll my thumb over here.
Good.
So having the safety right here would have been really convenient.
And that is reversible, it looks like.
I don't know. If it's set up just like an AR, it's not.
Okay.
But I think if it is just using an AR safety, which I'll double check. We can put that in the notes.
We'll fly that in the notes right there.
You have an infinite number of safeties available, and it'll cost you like $40 to change. So
cool, not a problem.
If that's something that bothers you,
I certainly didn't see inside of shooting NRL22 like that would have cost you the stage by any stretch of the imagination, because it was all pretty much just points based, right?
Yep.
You had to beat a par time, engage all the targets, get all the hits.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. So it wasn't. Yeah, it's not where fumbling your safety, costing you seconds is necessarily going to hurt your score because. You have this allotted time to shoot the stage.
Yeah, generally it looked like about 2 minutes.
Yep.
So
that was all the stages there. It's not like USPSA where it's like I do this as fast as I can.
Yeah, no, that 100th was the difference between second and third place. Cool. How'd you find the rifle for comfort, for building positions and all that kind of stuff? Let's leave out the toys for a second, but just the rifle itself, as you see it with this bipod.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome that you have as long a handguard as you do. It's very easy to build multiple positions. Like a couple of stages I shot were on like folding chairs and things like that. Really awkward things to build positions on, so having enough handguard was really good. Also shooting it without a bag, which buy a bag if you want to shoot NRL.
Yeah, that's what we're going to get to here in a second as the extras, but yep.
Building positions on like some of the barricades and stuff that we were on, I needed all that handguard. It was really good to have all of that. Some other notes on the length of the handguard I'll add in too later on, but the stock adjustability was rock solid. It locks in where you want it. It stays there. I think we've mentioned in past videos, if you wanted to share this rifle at a match, you absolutely could.
Yeah.
You paint mark it for the different people shooting it. You go out, you shoot your match.
Really
Keep
simple.
rolling on. It would be, yeah.
Yep.
The other thing too is if you're, using something that is cheaper to shoot, that you're rolling over into full centerfire rifle shooting. This clip that sits right here on the bolt is removable, and then it has a short action length of throw as opposed to just a little 22. So you could set it up if you're shooting a 6.5, 308, 260, any of those in your bolt gun, or if you're shooting the centerfire Ruger Precision rifle.
Yeah.
Now you can have that same length of travel. So now that motion
cool.
is building into the rest of your shooting as well.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. It's like, all right, cool. Well, so it sounds like the gun was good to go. Let's talk about things that there was nothing on here I saw that we didn't need, except for maybe you did not ever pull a sling out of your bag.
I used it in practice.
Okay.
I like using slings, broadly speaking.
Yep.
For NRL22, I would skip it.
Although there were stages that headed in the description as using a sling.
Yes, they did.
And
so
we looked at some of those. So you still might want it. So, but I don't. You might have just not run into it yet. But
Yeah.
the match we did, sling would not have cost you the match by any stretch of the imagination. So, so good. So, is there anything? How'd this bipod run for you?
I love the Magpul bipods. I already have bias built in there.
Yeah,
I'll
I got
acknowledge
it.
that. But as far as cost and function at that match,
Yep, this was just
perfect.
good to go.
Yep,
Yeah,
worked
so
great for that.
okay, good. So that all worked. So what did we not get that we needed?
So the optic is something. Well, I'll make 2 points here. I'll look at it two ways. One, staying inside a base class. I'd have probably gone to the 4 to 16. Okay. I don't think I went past 18 for the match. I might have dialed up past it once and been like, yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
And pulled it back to 18. I think that's what 16 or 18 is what I shot the whole match at anyway.
Okay.
The reason for that is because I found personally the eye box past 18 wasn't sufficient for your less well-built positions. So, if I was laying prone, fine, dial it up to 24, that's good. If I'm shooting off of a block of ice.
Or the tank trap.
or the tank trap.
Totally, okay.
I needed more eye box there,
Good. Now, do you think, though, that if you had the 4 to 16 and you cranked it all the way up,
things I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe,
okay, so that's something to look
so.
at. So you could definitely, the magnification would have been enough. The question is do you have enough eye box at the full power, as you do, or more or less eye box at full power than you would have on this at 18 over 24, right?
Yep.
So that's interesting. We'll have to look at that. So, but you could have, certainly in the world of magnification, and if your budget was an issue and you wanted to save 100 bones,
Yep.
that's one place you could definitely have done it. You could have gone to a 4 to 16 at $300 versus the dollars versus the 6 to 24 at $400. So cool. And then the only other thing I saw that was like a total miss is we didn't have a bag.
Yeah, that was a total miss. Having a shooting bag from someplace like Armageddon Gear, or I think Shooter Source carries some of those
Source carries
too.
Weebad and Armageddon Gear. Yep.
Any of those, what do they call them, fortune cookie style shooting bags.
And we'll show you some.
Vital.
We'll fly in some footage here of that. But it was like you probably like 2/3 of the match were done in some sort of a bag position.
Yeah, and I mean it was like I turned into the joke in my squad because it's like everybody was trying to loan me their bag.
Totally.
They're
Everybody's
shooters.
cool.
They're friendly. They're cool. It's like no, he's got to only shoot what he brought along.
Yeah,
so
we
struggle.
We decided before the match when we were talking about how we were going to do this. I was like, no, you got to go because look, I mean, part of these games is just learning the curve, right?
Okay.
It's like figuring the whole thing out. And we looked, and here's a couple of guys who are, I've competed a lot in competition shooting. You are newer to competition shooting overall, but have a lot of experience in like long range and all that kind of stuff. Is like, what can you figure out from the website without asking too many questions of friends, and then show up. And the bag thing was when I got there, and it was like everybody was like
everybody
plumping their bags. And I'm like, we screwed up.
There were guys that had like different bags that they were pulling out before the stage, like based on what they wanted.
Yeah.
So
from what I saw, you could get away with one good medium-sized fortune cookie. One thing that people did say, those the large ones, especially with the 22s, they sit so low in there that the cookie will come up over and block some of your some of your field of view. So you got to be a little careful of that. Now we don't carry any good bags here, do we?
We can get the Boyd ones.
We can get the Boyd ones.
Yep.
Okay, so Boyd, if you want Boyd, we can get those for you in the shop. If you want the other ones, we saw a lot of was Armageddon gear, and we didn't see any Weebad out there, but I know the Precision guys love those WEIBAD bags. Weebad.
I think one of the guys.
One of the guys had them.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So in those are some options. You can just Google those on the interwebs. Okay, so I would consider that a mandatory piece that we did not have.
Yep.
Okay, now what would be something we wish we had? I think I know the answer.
Oh man, I wanted a better scope. Not that this was bad, but like suppressor too.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like nice things they have, but
Yep.
any scope that I would have wanted though would have had the scope alone would have put me in open class.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And that's just my normal match that I shoot regularly is a 300 meter match. Centerfire rifle. For that I've been using a Viper. It's just nice to have that nicer glass.
It is.
You really if you're standing in the store here, right, under nice fluorescent lights and whatever, and looking outside. Like honestly, the
They all
the
look pretty
Crossfire
good. Yep.
and the Razor kind of look the same.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get onto an actual range, it's like,
Whoa! There's something about that high-end glass. As soon as you get to some level of distance where it almost appears that what you're looking at through the glass is more vibrant and more alive than it is to the naked eye at that distance.
Yep.
Not just that it's more magnified. It
Exactly.
appears more like it's like watching HDTV.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So let's not get into what we would have selected if we could have there, but so you
Nope.
would have maybe upgraded this. What do you think about the suppressor? They're about probably a third of the guys were running cans. It sure was nice.
Yeah, just from a pleasant match setting, and even then, I mean, everybody's shooting almost everybody was shooting standard velocity 22, so subsonic ammo anyway, which doesn't have that snap that supersonic does. So even if you're offline, if you're back behind the line, at the bench,
really quiet.
it was really quiet match still. But with the suppressor, I mean, you're all standing around. This guy shooting in the background.
We're all making fun of him at full, conversationally mocking the
Yeah.
shooter.
You don't need to yell over anything. Your electronic ear pro isn't cutting in and out as gunshots are going off.
Yep.
You carry on your conversation. That was really nice.
Cool.
So
Did you feel like you needed more magazines, different roundage? Does this seem like
No.
a good kind of overall?
I don't know if it changes at other matches. Talking to the shooters there, there have been some bonus stages that the match director put in that required a reload.
Okay.
But as far as I understand, NRL22 is all 10 rounds.
Okay, cool.
No reloads. So
Perfect.
you could run it absolutely just with the 15 round mag that comes with this gun. The other thing too that one of the guys there pointed out that would have been a really good idea on the length of the handguard. So the guys that are running in open class have what's called an Arca rail. It allows you basically to position whatever is on the bottom, your bipod, wherever you want on the rail.
Okay.
You can't run an Arca rail in base class, as I understood it, based on the
But you
rules.
could probably run a.
You could get one of the Kinetic Development Group's quick release Picatinny rail sections.
Interesting.
So then what you do, instead of having an Arca rail, okay, I want to move my bipod around, I just unclip it and clip it back in somewhere else. That would be kosher because it's
Cool.
it's still standard M-lock.
Yep.
The reason you would want to do that is based on some of the platforms that you had to shoot on. So like one of the ones that I was on was an ice block. I mean, they dumped out a 5-gallon bucket of ice. So, if I had been able to pull this back a little bit, now when I set the gun down, it squeezes itself on there between the front of the receiver magazine here and the back of my bipod. That's still kosher by the rules. It's just how my gear is set up, squeezes around
That would have been fine.
the match
Yeah.
there, or the stage equipment there. So
We should say that though, that it was a beautiful day, but it was cold.
it was cold.
Really cold. So, and the gear ran fantastic in that, which is great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect anything less from a Bolt, but still at the same time, I mean, it was nice. The guns ran really well.
Which I saw, too, and talked to the match director there. He works for Federal, so I was asking him some things about 22 in the cold because as I posted on our Instagram, I did have some issues with some loads in the cold. I don't know if it was specific to the cold, but talking to him, he said, you might have ended up with gaps in that primer rim, in your rimfire there.
Interesting.
Due to the cold. So the CCIs that I shot were absolutely perfect.
Good to go.
All 3 days that I shot that ammo.
Cool.
Magazine fed well.
Yep.
The gun was very consistent accuracy-wise. There were no hiccups there, which
Yeah, you put up some good scores.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So
diving into it.
So again, just to reiterate, this firearm right here, as you see it, is standing here. There's only one of them available. It's this one. It's got around 400 rounds on it, and we're doing it for $795. If you bought all these pieces collectively, you'd be north of $1,000. That includes all the little bits and bobs we've got on here. And we'd love to have you come pick that up. Now that is this is literally Monday, 12/30 of 2019. If you're watching this video a year later, it's not available. Do not send me a note, okay? We're good to go, and probably for a week or so. So we'll have this one up available today for sale. And then let's see what else. We've been getting a handful of inquiries about checking out the open class.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'm down to shoot open.
Yeah, I got it. So the sooner this gun sells, the better case I can make, and you and I can make for taking a hotter rig off the shelf that's going to cost a few grand. We'll do the same thing.
Yep.
So just to daydream a little, what do you think? What would you grab? Start with a gun.
So, looking at what the other open shooters there were using, a lot of them were still, actually all of them were still using bolt guns.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's a particular reason for that. I asked a couple of them. Nobody gave me a really definitive, well, here's why I don't use a semi-auto.
Yeah.
But saw a couple of on-shoots, a couple of voodoos, and the CZs, which was pretty cool to me that they were popping up.
Okay.
And I mean, a couple of the guys, like, it was a CZ because they kept the action. They ripped everything else off of it, but still, that's what they built their open gun off of.
Cool.
Personally, I would really like to shoot it with Volquartsen 1022.
That'd be sweet.
And that would...
I think it'd be more than enough rifle for what I saw out there.
Yeah.
What about the scope?
For the scope, I think a Viper like 3 to 15 is where I would go.
Really? Okay.
One of the other open guys there was using that scope, and you know, it would have an appropriate amount of reticle.
Yep.
You know, I know from I already used that scope on another gun.
Okay.
It tracks well. Oh, there's another thing I should note. I did do some turret tracking out to 200 with this, which was my 200-yard hold dial was 27 minutes or something like that. It tracked true, so that's awesome at the price tag.
That price point, that's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, so having the Viper there, I don't, maybe a 5 to 25.
Okay.
Play around with that.
Okay. But you wouldn't go up to Razor Glass or any of that kind of stuff, or switch over to Night Force or Swaro or.
You know, you could. I don't know. For Swirl, I wouldn't want to run a second focal plane. I would want to keep it first.
Okay.
So maybe, like, if you're looking at the Collis, then would be cool. I don't know if there'd be enough wind there to make that leap.
Not those short little ranges.
Pretty much. I mean, for the match, we shot out to 130 yards. That was as far as we shot. And as I understand, you can shoot further. And there's other, like...
Well, in those bays, you don't... This is a Forest Lake Sportsman's Club. You don't get a crosswind because of the way they're designed, but you do get this weird, like, thing that comes down.
Yep.
And you'll watch your bullet hits, like, back and forth a little bit across the center. Not a lot. It's like minor, but there is wind. I mean, it's just legit there,
And when you're shooting 22, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to move it. You know, if you were getting into more, there's like, I don't know if it actually falls under NRL, but there's like more niche rimfire competitions, like they call it. It was like the King of the Quarter Mile or something like that.
Crazy.
You know, they're shooting really long distance with 22.
That's amazing.
At that point, maybe I would want to.
I think that's nuts, but that's okay. Yes, that's good. That's fine.
Here's King of the 8th Mile. I don't know.
And we'll have to. We got to throw a can on that one just because we got to.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
For some pictures. Anyway.
We'll see if we can figure out a can somehow from the shop. So, all right, very cool. Well, this was fun to watch. So, what's your overall take on NRL22? Are you going back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would. You know, it might not be this year because I'm really hot on PRS gas gun, but man, it was a good time. And even that, you know, if you are already a PRS shooter or any discipline of, you know, like practical precision shooting, NRL22 I think is the perfect way to keep practicing that without, you know, if you're hand loading, spending all that time to load ammo for match, you know, like you do like I did here, you grab a box of CCIs and you just go shoot the match for fun. And it builds those mechanics in. You get more trigger time.
Cool. Reps is reps.
Reps is reps.
Hey, I will say, the one thing you did say that I thought was poignant when we were out at the range was that, like, if somebody was looking to get into, and I would echo this based on what I saw, if somebody's looking to get into a rifle match, never done it before, want to have some fun, I would send them to this for sure.
Agreed.
You could learn all the basic commands, all the basic safety,
Yep.
get a sense of how the match flow goes, the whole thing. And then when you show up to one of the bigger matches with this is like 15 people out there, just like buddies having a great time on
Yep.
3 squads. Some matches don't feel like that.
Yep.
And you want to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed a little maybe before you get there, so you don't get rubbed the wrong way, which happens every now and again. It's pretty rare, but it does happen.
Yep.
This would be an awesome place to start.
Yeah, and I don't know, your mileage may vary at different clubs, but as far as like how safety was managed, obviously, we got footage of the safety brief beforehand.
Yep.
But you didn't. At least at this match, from what I saw, there wasn't anybody sitting there looking for the safety violator. Like
No.
DQ.
There was, it was run really well. There was a little laissez-faire about some things that whatever. It was pretty minor. I never got the sense that the match was unsafe by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
There were a few things that were a little lax for me personally, but that's what it is. I'm a match director, so
And that's where if you were to show up like 3-gun, USPSA, IDPA,
Yep.
it is very follow the commands.
100%.
Yeah.
There's too many moving parts to let it be. This was
Absolutely.
so quiet and conversational
Yes.
that you could easily be like, hey, knock that off.
Exactly.
In
Yeah.
a 3-gun match or USPSA match, things are moving way too fast. I mean, it's it would take some violence action to stop the action, to stop the play.
And that's part of it too. Things will go wrong a lot faster at those types of action shooting matches. For this, you're not doing 180-degree transitions
Correct.
on anything.
Correct.
It's
How do you think about for somebody who's a little, maybe got busted up knees, a little older? Do you see any issues with them getting around at these matches?
I don't think so. I mean, a couple of the guys there were complaining about their joints.
Okay.
And I think if you had my knees are beyond me being able to build a kneeling position. I really think that at least definitely at this match, the guys would be like, okay, I mean, modify the position so that it works for you. It's not going to be like, well, it sucks. I guess you don't get a score for this.
Yeah, no. I've never seen anybody not score them, but maybe a penalty or something for not having to make a. It depends on how good the advantage is for not having to do that thing. So. Well, this is awesome, man. This was really fun. And thank you all for the comments and the questions you had over the last couple of weeks. And we'll certainly answer any more we have. I think we'd do some. I don't know if we'll do open right away, but I think we should definitely put it on the calendar this year to see if we can check it out because it's a fun game. It's cool.
It is.
All right, guys. Questions, comments? We'll answer them as fast as we can. See you on the next one.